Hello and welcome to a short walkthrough of the rental car we have here from Britz in Southern Africa. Me and my wife, I'm Kasper, my wife collecting wood currently, his name is Sissel, and we have a 4x4 from Britz Rental throughout our travels in South Africa and Namibia and Botswana. So I'm going to take you through to show you some of the highlights of the car, what it contains, how you sort of do things. So to start with, of course, we have rented by Britz, and it's a 2.4 liter Toyota Hilux straight 6 engine. We are currently at a campsite here in southern Botswana, and as you can tell by the noise, there's quite a lot of wildlife. But this is the car. That's my wife walking over there. And basically it's a double cab Toyota Hilux. I think often the double cab comes with 2 tents, but since we're only the 2 of us, we got 1 tent, and we got them, actually, they took down the other tent by themselves to save fuel. So that was super nice of them. It is quite convenient to have the extra back seats, so having the double cab instead of the instead of the single cab, because then we have the back seat to store our, you can say, day bags, my camera gear, for instance. And you can say the stuff that you just need on the go. And while you're driving around on your self-drive safari, it's kind of nice sometimes to have something you can just grab, because in many national parks, you cannot step outside of the vehicle while you are doing your game drive. So let me start with the tent. The tent looks like this. Currently, I have taken up the entrance here, as you can see, and opened up to the back, as you can see there. So we get some air through. The sides I have not taken out currently, simply just to keep them down. It will be quite cold tonight, so the tent falls out this way, and then you fold out and lock the ladder, as you see here. See if I can come up here. When you rent a double cab like we've done, it actually comes with 2 sleeping bags, a very big blanket, and 2 pillows down in the end, as you can see there. So that is quite convenient of not having to bring that on your travels yourself. What I usually do is that I take the cover for the entire tent and I sort of tuck it up between the tent and the roof, so that we can still open the doors here. I can insert a time-lapse where you can see basically how the tent is unfolded, but also how it looks when it is all collapsed and retracted. With the tent, there comes these 8 pins, which you can use to, of course, stiffen the front and the back, but also the sides. And the sides, as I told you, I haven't done. But so you can open up all the way around, basically, to get as much air in as you want to. I can imagine during the summer that it is quite convenient to get as much air in as possible. If we take a look at the back here, it opens up on that side and on this side, so you can access your luggage. We have 2 kind of regular suitcases here. Could also, of course, bring a normal duffel bag or a soft bag. That might be easier to take in and out of the boot, but there is a lot of space, and when it's a double cab, essentially it's made for 4 people. So we actually have quite a lot of space, and again, it also comes handy having an entire back seat for all of the stuff. If we take a look of what is in the trunk here, we have a fridge. This is a fridge that's connected to the auxiliary battery. So there's an additional battery in the car. There is the standard one, of course, and then there's an additional one which powers this one and gets charged also while we go. Normally for a campsite, you would plug in here to a power outlet that is available on I would say most campsites. On this campsite, however, we don't really have one. We don't really have a power outlet. So for this night, we'll have to rely on the auxiliary battery. Hopefully it's not running overtime, because it is quite cold here during the night. So the fridge hopefully will not take as much power during the nighttime. It is also our last day camping, and we don't really have that much stuff after tonight's dinner that will need to get refrigerated. So we should be fine. Behind the fridge is where you would find the cable that you would plug in to the power outlet. It is super long, so you don't have to park right next to the power outlet. Then you would also find a hose to connecting to a tap. Currently we have a tap over there. So then you could connect to that if you want to fill up the internal water tank, which is also in the car. We haven't really used the internal water tank. Guess you could use it for filling up your dishing up bucket, or yeah, to wash something else. The outlet for the water, or the tap, is the one down here, just over the bumper. But as I said, we haven't really used it. I guess there's still some water in the tank actually. Also behind the fridge is where you find your other sort of not as frequently needed stuff, but it might happen that you need it. So you have your dust brush and your dustpan, you have your fire extinguisher, you have an axe, you have a emergency triangle, and also some high visibility jackets, if I remember correctly. So that's all tucked away down here beside the fridge. And when you push the fridge backwards, it all hides underneath the suitcases, and you can only see the fridge. What is important to remember when you plug in to an outlet on a campsite, then you need to change the cable on the back side of the fridge so that it of course doesn't run on the auxiliary battery, but so it runs from this power outlet. If we take a look at what's in the utensils drawer, let me just see if I can push this one in. It's a bit this one, but it fits. If we take a look at what's here in the drawer, this is where we have all of our main cooking utensils. So with the car comes, of course, a dishing up bucket in here. It also contains a boiling pot for boiling water. It contains stainless steel coffee mugs and wine glasses, and also regular cups. It's of course all scaled to 2 people, so we have 2 of everything: 2 spoons, 2 knives, 2 forks, 2 bowls, plates, and yeah, 2 of each cup. Luckily, it also comes with plastic boxes for our leftovers. Usually when you cook by yourself, it happens that you have leftovers. So it's actually really nice to be able to keep that just like you do at home and eat it at another time. We have 3, I think, a saute pan and 2 different sizes of pots. We have, of course, our cooking stove here. I'll show you where the gas kettle is, or the gas bottle. A lid for each of the pot. And then what we keep here is basically the bricks for the fire. We keep some, we keep a lighter, of course, some extra plastic bags, some paper towel, the stuff that we use to clean the dishes after we've used it. So it is super convenient when we get everything like this. We don't have to bring anything from home other than nothing basically, because then of course you need to go to the supermarket to buy maybe some dishing up soap, maybe also the sponges that we did. From home we actually brought a towel to dry the utensils when we had cleaned it, and we also brought a small cloth just to dry off the table, for instance, when we've been driving. The table that you see here and the chairs is also kept in the car, of course. So the table slides up to here. It is quite heavy, so bear that in mind when you take it out. And the chairs are actually kept over here underneath our box of food, so everything fits really nicely. A pro tip: when we did our first grocery shopping, we also got a cardboard box in the supermarket. Super practical to have all of your dry foods that doesn't go into the fridge, to have them in a box. This so it's not flying around as much when you drive on bumpy roads, and you don't necessarily have to keep them in the cabin of the car. It's also where we keep our wood for making the fire. And down here to your left, you see the gas bottle that we can just take up with my left hand even. So that's ready for dinner in a minute. And then also next to the gas bottle we have a compressor for filling up the tires. Usually they recommend dropping the tire pressure down to 1.8 bar when you're driving on sand. You can also drop it even lower. And then you use this one connected to the battery in front. I'm not going to show you that. And then you can fill up air again in the tires. This is also where there's a bag for the metal pins that will make sure that the tent is erected. And down here we also have a regular spade to dig holes if you need to dig a hole in any case. But as I said, comes with 2 chairs and a table. That is super easy also to make clean, because there will be quite a lot of dust within the trunk. It's difficult to make it completely dust proof, so you definitely need to wipe it off sometimes. On the back side of the door there is an additional tire. It's only fitted with 2 bolts, so it is fairly easy to take off. If we look underneath the car, there's also an additional tire down there, so you're actually driving around with 2 additional tires in case you should need it, God forbid it. If we take a look at the inside of the cabin, we start with the rear seats. As I said, this is where we keep sort of the quick stuff that we need to grab. Some extra shoes, camera gear, extra clothing, and so on. You can flip up the back seats so that you can access your tools for your jack for lifting the car, for changing the wheels, and also the wheel spanner for taking off the bolts. If we take a look at the inside of the main cabin, the cockpit, this one is a relatively new, I would say, Toyota Hilux. It has plenty of cup holders, as you can tell, in the door, on the dashboard, of course down in the middle. This one is a manual, but it's super easy to drive in the sand as well, and convenient to be able to change gears yourself. You have radio over here. However, the version that we got doesn't contain navigation, but we got the external navigation from the rental company, from Britz, that has the Tracks for Africa installed. So we can just type in all of the different lodges and campsites, and we get the correct directions. As you can see, this is where the tent sits on this side of the car. And in here you can charge, in this version at least, you can charge 1 USB. I have an adapter as well to the 12 volt cigarette lighter, so that I can charge more stuff at once. Here you also have an indicator of the auxiliary battery, basically to show you the current health of the auxiliary battery. So expect in the morning, if you haven't been plugged in as us, it will probably go down to the orange or maybe even red zone, simply just to indicate how much is left. As soon as you fire up the car, it will of course start to gain more power. The guy that we got the car from, I think he said that it has electricity for about 6 to 7 hours, but usually when we have not been plugged in the car, it's still running fine even after a night's sleep, which is more than 6 hours. Of course, when you cannot plug in, there's not really something you can do about it other than making sure that your food can actually stay cool. Of course, in the fridge, it actually cools it down naturally very well, or at least just eat the food as you go along throughout the day. I can see that my wife has now made pretty nice fire. Let's see if there's anything to add. Yeah, the back door is locked with this padlock, so that is kept within the car keys here. There's 3 keys in total. And the side doors here simply just shut down like this, click it in, and then you lock it with the key that is also in the keychain. And yeah, the gas bottle looking like this. You just simply screw on a cooking top onto that, fire up the gas bottle, then you are set to cook with your pan or your pots. Yes, and as I said, in the end of this walkthrough, I will put in the time lapse of wrapping everything out, so you can see how the tent looks when it's all collapsed and how it basically unfolds. It doesn't take that long once you get used to it. In the beginning, of course, you do need to walk around the car quite a lot of times, open the doors, step on the footwalk to reach everything. But once you've tried it a couple of times, it comes very naturally and it goes fairly quick, I would say. What's very important, which I've messed up with a few times, is these locks for the ladder. So it is super important to open it up like this, so you can slide it upwards when you need to fold everything back together, because then you cannot fold the entire length of the ladder. You cannot push everything over the other side, so it's easier when you have folded it somewhat up. Of course, when you need to take it out, then it makes sense also to just push it a bit down, so it's probably down to here, so that you have something to pull in once you're standing on this side and pulling everything this way. But that's a minor detail. Yes, so I think I will leave the video there. It's a really great car. We've been driving on a lot of gravel roads in Namibia. We've been driving in deep sand. An important feature also to highlight, if I can show you, down here next to the steering wheel, you have your selection for if you want to do two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. You can do four-wheel drive in high range or low range. For sand, we use four-wheel drive high range. We never really use low range. I expect you would use it if you need to go up some maybe super big rocks or something. But definitely high range for sand to keep the momentum in the car. And you need, of course, to be in neutral, and you need to be standing still for able to switch between the three modes. An additional feature or information over the tire is indicated the tire pressure for tarmac or for gravel, and then we've been advised to keep it lower than 2 for sand, so around 1.8 or maybe even lower. One of the guides when we did a dune drive in Namibia, he took it all the way down to 1 bar. But yeah, you just need to fill it up again once you're done driving in the sand. I will leave it here for now. I hope you guys will have a great time once you book a car like this. This one again, we booked through Britz in South Africa, and it's a really amazing car. Bye.